Folks, today on the Stoney Ridge Farm channel, we're going to be talking about the Woods Batwing Mower, what you need to know if you're considering purchasing a Batwing Mower for your property. This is a 2-year review. This is not sponsored. This is just me, the tools that I use here on the farm, trying to help you out. I hope you enjoy the video. All right, folks, welcome back to the Stoney Ridge Farm channel. This is your first time here, your 50 billionth time. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Love to have you back here. We've got two things here that we're going to be showing you. This is the Woods Batwing BW15.50. This is the TYM T1104 tractor, 110 horsepower tractor. I think it's right around 93 PTO horsepower. That's important. We're going to talk about horsepower requirements for the Batwing mower also. Before I go into the video, I want to let you guys know exactly how this thing works, and we're going to raise and lower and let this thing up and down. So this is a Batwing mower, and in case you've never used a Batwing mower, these are the Batwings. Woods is the only real, true Batwing mower. I believe Woods owns the rights to Batwing. It is the first Batwing mower. If I'm wrong, post it in the comments. So we're going to walk around this a little bit. I'm going to tell you about the features of the mower that I have right here. This is the 15.5, which is about 15.5 feet wide. I'm going to tell you the things that I like about it and a few things that I think could use a little bit of improvement, but they're not bad. There's nothing bad about this mower aside from you got to learn how to use it. I think it's only fair that we hop in the tractor and talk about managing the mower from the inside of the tractor. So I get up in here. Oh, this is a really nice machine. No longer affiliated with TYM tractors, but I still really like this machine. So this is the TYM T1104. The Batwing takes horsepower. It takes a lot of horsepower to run. Looking out the back glass right here, this is your view. You have 3 hydraulic hookups right here, and that is required for a Batwing mower like this. And when you have 3 hydraulic hookups, you've got one for each wing that drops it down. We'll show you real quick. So this is the hydraulic arm, and that's one wing, and then we'll hit the other hydraulic arm. That lowers and raises the other wing, okay? Up and down. Now we've got up and down for the hydraulic cylinder that lifts it for the mowing height. We'll show you a little bit more about that in a second. This is my float setting, and I put it on float. So we pull, we lift, push down into float, and that drops it. Okay, that's it. Just simply 3 remotes, hydraulic remotes. Right here we have our PTO. We would just push it and turn it to the right, and if we need to stop, we just smack it. When you smack that, it disengages your PTO. This is our 3-point system. We don't even need to have our 3-point system in use, but we do raise it all the way up so that it doesn't bind. I'll show you that in just a second, because it can get bound up if you cut corners too sharp with this thing. It's not like mowing with a traditional mower, and it's hot out here, guys. I will have sweat dripping off my nose in just a minute. Let's get out here and we'll walk around the mower and show you guys, and then we'll lower it back down and show you all the features. I want to show you the quick change blade system, which is something that's proprietary to the Woods equipment, and it's super cool. This is a really awesome setup right here for hooking up your PTO shaft. Woods has this proprietary handle that you pull up and line up your PTO shaft, so you don't have to lift this super heavy shaft and engage it into the PTO of your tractor. Something I don't like so much is how much of a pain in the butt it is to lubricate all the lube points on this shaft. That pretty much goes with any mower or piece of equipment that has one big drive shaft like this or PTO shaft like this. Now, here's another thing. 3 hydraulic hookups, just like I told you. You need 3, okay? You've got to have them in the right configuration. If you don't, you'll be flopping around the whole time and your mower just won't mow right. So you've got to figure all that out, and that's just part of the learning curve of running this Batwing mower. So we've got 3 hydraulic hookups. Something that I really need to do is take these hydraulic hookups and wrap some of that protective hydraulic hose wrap around them. Here's why. You see this? We've taken a chunk out of this hydraulic hose. This stuff is not cheap. It's priced by the inch, not by the foot, and it's like 75 cents an inch. So one long hose like this with connectors, if I bust that, that's a $150 problem. I always mow with my lift arms all the way up. I could simply remove these and that would totally eliminate that. So when you're driving in the pasture and you try to cut a really sharp turn, your lift arms will often get in the way, and that's what happened here. The lift arm came into the PTO shaft right here and gouged it just a little bit. You can see a few gouges on there and kind of tore that. Basically that tore that by catching on these lift arms. That's something that you need to know. Now, what do I need to do to remove the lift arms? I got to pull a couple pins out, and I could easily drop them, get them the heck out of the way, and be smart. And I pretty much leave this mower attached to this tractor. This is what I would consider a $100,000 lawnmower, I guess. So moving on through the machine here, this is something that's super cool with woods. Everything is easy to lubricate. So on a typical tractor, you would be, or a typical mower, you'd be all up in here trying to find your lubrication points. Not so much with the woods. We just raise it up right there. This is magnetic. It holds this down, and we can just rotate around and find our grease fitting. Our grease point is right there. When we get done, pop it back down. Next one, that big old dude. Got two magnets, one magnet there, one magnet there, and those magnets engage this to hold it down into place, and all of our lubrication points are super easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. Actually, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Lots of lubrication points. This gearbox is super important. It's easy to access. It's got a breather on the top of it right there. Super fun, super easy, and 5/11/22 is when it was serviced last. So that's written on there, and that was from the dealership. Okay, flop that guy down. You got your jack. This jack stows away right here on the top. One thing about the jack that I don't like is it tends to vibrate a little bit, and it tends to open up, so it will extend itself. So what I do for that is I kind of bind it up. I bring it all the way in and bind it up as tight as I can. It will hang up on saplings and stuff like that. So if you're not going to be disconnecting your mower, you might want to just leave this in the shed. And that comes off and goes right here. It's held in place with a pin set up. So this is not a 3-point hookup. This is a tow or tag along. In here are all your manuals. I've got the manuals out. I actually keep parts in here. I'll show you real quick. So we mow at various heights here on the Stoney Ridge Farm, and this is what we use. Let me take you over here and show you. So when we set our mowing deck height, these are spacers which hold it up, okay? We mow at about 8 inches here in the summertime, so it's all set up to mow really, really high, and you can see how high it's set up right now. There are a few different options when it comes to a Batwing mower or any kind of mower, whether you get these chains or whether you get a mat. There is no substitute for these chains, and you can see some of them have taken a bit of a licking. So what these do is they keep debris, trash, sticks, metal, anything that you might hit from jabbing up into your tractor tire. So it will eject material that direction. Any mower will eject material that direction. And these chains are super heavy duty, so they last, and they're replaceable. So you can take this whole thing off and you can replace individual rows of chains, or you can replace the whole setup. And that is front and rear. I recommend that you get that feature on your machine. We're gonna shut this tractor off in a second. This is the Woods Quick Change blade setup. These blades virtually change themselves. It takes about 15 minutes to change every blade on this machine and get back to work in case you get into something that you might have torn up. Now the blades are pretty good right here. I try to take good care of them, but we've got lots of rocks on the farm, and this mower takes a beating, a beating. I mean, I have nailed some rocks, as you can see right there. Show me a mower that's not damaged underneath, and I'll show you a guy that hasn't been mowing in a rocky place. Let me hop up in here and we'll lower our bat wings down. You can run the mower just like this. I wouldn't recommend starting it like this, but you can mow with them in the vertical position. Okay, so we're all the way down in our horizontal position. I'm gonna raise up my deck so we can easily show it. Well, we're gonna shut this tractor down. Now you can really see how nice these chains work, how simple it is, and how heavy duty it is. This thing's in the highest position it can get right now, but when you lower it down, these things are only about that high off the ground, and typically if you mow really short, they'll just be dragging the ground. So super handy. You can see the blades right there. All right. Now, there are 4 skids on this thing. There's a skid right here, one on the other side, and one on each side of the Batwing. So you don't gouge it into the ground, it just kind of slides on the ground via this skid. I do like that. Again, this is the Batwing from Woods. I don't know who makes a better mower than this, a Batwing mower than this, I don't know. If you guys know, post it down there. I haven't seen a Batwing mower that's any better than a Woods. So if we look right here, and Woods is not a sponsor, by the way. If you look down through here, that's how you lubricate the spinning portion of your blade, and that's how you lubricate the quick change blade system. You've got gearboxes, 1 gearbox, 2 gearbox, 3 gearbox, 4 gearbox. How easy and awesome is this? If you want to check the oil in your gearbox, and you got to change this oil once a year, or you should, right there it is. Very, very simple. Super easy to service, super easy to fill it. I definitely like it. Now, we've got 2 hydraulic cylinders. Like I said, you need 3 hookups on the rear of your tractor. So if you buy a tractor and it only has 2, it costs about $1,000, maybe even a little bit more for an extra hookup on the back of your tractor. You need to have a remote on the front on your loader, and you need to have 3 remotes on the rear of any tractor you have on a farm, in my humble opinion. Under each one of our U-joints, or our PTO shafts, we can just simply flip this guy up. Again, it's magnetic, so it sticks back down. They're not back here going blah, 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 and flopping and making all kinds of racket. You don't want all that noise, right? Now, gearbox is super easy to service. We just talked about that. There's no lubrication point for the hydraulic setup right here. This raises one wing, that raises the other wing. This and this is how you set it up to make sure that your cutting height is level. You will scalp your grass if you don't have that properly adjusted. Now, your dealer's probably going to properly adjust it. I can't tell you how to do it. I've done it myself. Take it to a flat spot on your property and level it out, set the deck down, and make sure that it's doing properly. If it's not, adjust it. And that's all I can say. There's a set nut on here. You simply adjust it and pop it back into place. There's lubrication point here, lubrication point here. Virtually every moving part has a lubrication point. Now, we also have lubrication points in our hubs. Let's show you that real quick. So the hub lubrication point is right here. I opted for solid airplane tires. You can get this with solid airplane tires. You can get it with lights on it. You can get it, if you're running up down the road, you might want to have lights on it. You can take this wheel off and switch it over there. That wheel, you can switch it over there. This wheel, you can switch it over there. I don't know why you'd want to do that. Guys, post a comment. Tell me why you'd want to do that. Again, solid airplane tires. This is an industrial type mower. It will take a beating. It will go into ditches and take chunks out of your tire. If you hit a fence post, if you get it hung up in some barbed wire, you don't want to rip a hole in your tire. Having solid airplane tires is the most indispensable part of this mower, in my humble opinion, guys. I think it gives a great cut. There is a shock absorber right here that helps it to flow and balance and bounce just right. And something you need to know when you're running a Batwing mower is that at the end of each row, when you're running a standard mower, either a 6-foot, 8-foot, 10-foot, 5-foot, whatever kind of brush cutter, or commonly referred to as brush hog or cutter, rotary cutter, whatever you're running, when you go around a corner, and you're going to go around corners, you're going to leave a spot. So typically we'll go to the end, circle back around, and go back down the next row. Go in, turn around, go back down the next row. With a Batwing, you just make that turn. At the end of your mowing job, you'll go back and you'll hit all those little spots that you mowed. You don't need to obsess about getting around that corner super tight every time. And if you do push it to the limit, super tight turns every single time, you're going to damage something. That's how I learned, okay? I'm teaching you what I learned. Don't make super sharp turns with this, okay? If you have a property that's 5 to 20 acres, you don't need a Batwing mower like this. You don't. You simply don't. This thing will mow like the bee's knees. I can mow 5 acres with it in 45 minutes-ish, something like that. Do the math, I'll let you guys do the math. Basically a 16-foot cutter going 4 miles an hour over a pasture. how much can you mow in an hour? 16-foot width. I think it's somewhere next to 5 acres, 5 to 6 acres. I am supremely impressed with the quality and have had absolutely no issues with this Woods Batwing mower. I've got somewhere in the neighborhood of 210 hours of mowing on this thing. I've had to sharpen the blades one time and I beat the crap out of it. If you've got embankments, say you're mowing down your road, you've got an embankment, you can raise this up. Say you have tree encroachment into your pastures, you can raise this upright and cut those trees off the edge of your pasture. It makes it super easy and super versatile. Now let's talk about the things I think could be improved on this mower. A self-leveling system would be super awesome for this thing. I do find myself accidentally scalping my pastures sometimes simply because one of these arms gets off. So we're always going over undulating surfaces. Undulating, today's word of the day, right? Undulating meaning uneven surfaces. If you look out through here, there's ditches and holes and all sorts of stuff. And sometimes it'll drop down in a hole and it will scalp the grass. We want to get done with our mowing job and make it look like a zero-turn mower just went over it. This thing will do that when you set it all the way down low. But when it's up high, it's easy to scalp it. And we cut anywhere from 5 to 8 inches high here in the summertime on the farm so we don't waste any forage for the cattle. A couple other things that I think we could improve upon is setting it up for 2 hydraulic outputs. I think maybe there is a setup for 2 hydraulic outputs. I don't know, I'll let Woods chime in on that. But when you get on uneven ground, in other words, if I pull up in here and I make a right-hand turn on that hillside, this one won't fall down. It falls down via gravity and raises up via the hydraulics. So that's something that's important to know. When you go through a gate, you raise them up. You want to get them back down, or at least get this over the tipping point. Instead of straight up, you want it to be tipped out just like that before you get out to where you're going to mow, or you'll find yourself driving around in a circle to get both wings to drop. That's something that I think could be improved upon. I'm sure there's already something out there that's fixed that issue. It may be that I need to buy a fancier one. I don't know. Now, other things that I think could be improved upon, if this were just a little bit longer, then we would be back just a little bit further and we probably wouldn't strike our 3-point. I don't know, you guys tell me. I think Woods recommends that you remove, for mowing with a tow behind, I think they recommend you go ahead and remove your 3-point. So it may just be a Josh error. Something that's really cool here, there is a setup left, right, center. So you can unplug your hydraulics and bloop, 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 drop them all into place so you know which one it is when you hook them back up. My recommendation is to put a colored zip tie on each one of these and a colored zip tie on each one of these. That way you always hook it back up in the exact same manner. I like that idea. I like that feature. Do I find that this gathers up a lot of material? Yes, it does. At the end of your mowing, you need to blow it off. You don't have to rinse it off, but you need to blow it off. Blow off all the debris. Don't put it up wet if you can possibly do that. This has not been stored indoors. It's been outside since 2022. We're in 2024 right now, and it looks just the same as it did brand new. Maybe once a year, give it a good pressure washing and tuck it away in the wintertime. Tell me what else you want to hear about the Woods Batwing mower. This is Tool Tuesday. I just thought I'd walk around and do a quick 2-year review, show you some awesome footage of this thing working, and now you know what it's like to own a Woods Batwing mower. Super awesome, huge, monumental time saver here on the farm. Is it worth spending upwards of $20,000 for a mower versus spending $2,500? This is the biggest time saver on the farm. Horsepower. How much horsepower do we need? Right around 110 horsepower tractor right here. I think it's about 93 to the PTO shaft. You're gonna need a tractor that's at least 65 to 75 horsepower. I've got a 55 horsepower cab tractor over here, and we're gonna hook it up to the Woods Batwing and see what it does. But I think it's gonna overwork that tractor. It's gonna cause heating issues. It's not gonna cut properly. So you need to consult with your dealer as to what size Batwing mower you need for your size tractor, or maybe you just need to get yourself a bigger tractor, a more comfy and cushy tractor. Guys, thank you so much for joining me here on the Stoney Ridge Farm Channel today. This is Tool Tuesday, and I thought I'd walk you around, show you the Woods mower. If there's any features that you have questions about on this mower, please be sure you post comments and questions. I'll be happy to answer any question you might have. If I can get Woods to send us a coupon code for buying one of these, I'll let you know. Otherwise, we'll post a link down the video description. You can check out the Woods website. They've changed a little bit this year, and they've got a really awesome, I think you can get them in red, black, this color, green, all sorts of stuff. Thank you guys. We'll see you next time on the Stoney Ridge. Woo! Mommy, wow! I'm a big kid now. Let's go really, really fast backwards. Really, really fast backwards. It's so hot outside. It's so hot. Drop the RPMs. Oh, it's so loud. It's a big old loud tractor. Woo-hoo-hoo!